I'm Ali Brisbane. I'm a crew member on both boats at Whitby. So I'm on the ALB, which is the all-weather lifeboat, which is the big boat that sits up in the water, and the inshore lifeboat, which is the what we like to call the rubber duck, that we house in-house and we launch on davit within the station. We've got different kit for both boats. I'm going to talk you through the inshore lifeboat kit, which is nicely strewn out on the floor. So everything that we need is in our life jackets and within the kit. So our kit is completely waterproof, so if we do have to enter the water for any reason, whether it's part of rescue or a big capsize, we keep completely dry. The kit's got rubber neck seal and it's got fantastic steel toe caps, and we've got underpins under here as well, so God forbid we shouldn't see anything sharp. That protects us as well. So each kit has got different life jackets as well. So with the inshore lifeboat jacket, it's got integral internal flotation, so it's inherent buoyancy, so it doesn't naturally detonate the life jacket if we go in the water, because we do get very, very wet on the ILB. So if it was detonated automatically like the lifeboat, the all-weather lifeboat, we just end up with 2 bladders constantly detonating for us. So when it does pop, we've got hoods, lights, we carry personal light locator as well, which does if we do anything in the water, we can detonate at any point, and that will send a signal, so any of the life-saving crew, whether it's our own boats, or it could be the Coast Guards, with helicopters, they can find us. In the life jackets as well, we carry point flares, so we've got night and day flares, so that's another device that can help find us in as well. So the general procedure for us to come down for a shout is our page.
Along with those, we have our helmets as well.
So the first initial thing is that the first informer, the first person that sees something or themselves are in trouble, will call 999 and the Coast Guard. Or if you've got a radio, VHF radio, we'll call up on channel 1616, which is the emergency channel, and ask for help, giving their location or the location of the casualty that they have spotted in the water. The Coast Guards then, that are based down in Bridlington, decide what the nature of the incident is. Whether it's this beach strand in a capsize, somebody over a cliff, somebody that's in a rubber dinghy, a swimmer, a surfer, paddleboarder. It could be a whole multitude of things that happen off our coast. We get a wide variety of different shouts, and they will decide what particular vessel they need to launch. So if it's, for example, a surfer or a walker or somebody that's got up to top by the tide, they will more than likely use your lifeboat. So this is where we on this kit, launch, damn it, that'll show you when you go out, slowly against the water, and we'll go off them with time and speed.
So the flare's got 2 ends basically, you stay in the height, you got your smoke and then you've got
it's the all-weather lifeboat. Kit on, but I'll talk you through. It's very, very similar kit in many ways. And then the all-weather lifeboat. On the inshore, we take 3 crew members. We've got helms, which are designated trained helms. Then we have 2 other crew members as well. One will be a radio operative, and one will be on the navigation. Sometimes, if they give us casualty positions, we'll put that long in and drop the casualty position, so we know the coastline well enough to sort of know where we're going. Sometimes it is helpful, especially if there's a personal location to pay to be going off, and they've got that Latin long, they can give us a pinpoint accuracy, and then we can as a rule we go by details given, 1 nautical mile off the pavilion or something like simple terminology. We usually work on that page or like. So the pages that go, let's say on our pages which boats in, so we'll come down and the process of choosing which crew is basically is more adapted to that shout. So if it's a medical shout, paramedics and a doctor, they'll probably hopefully choose one of those. if it's a dog back in the harbour, or usually choose me for some goddamn reason. I usually get designated to animals for some reason. But yeah, we've got surfers on cruise, so if it's a surfing body, they'll send a surfer because they understand the equipment and everything. If it's a sailor, they'll probably try and send somebody that knows a little bit about sailing because they understand the equipment on board. If it's a diver, they'd probably pick Emily, because Emily's a diver. Picking on them. So they try and look at the crew and the crew's strengths, who's here, what abilities they've got, what the knowledge they've got. We all can sort of knowledge from outside the lifeboat and apply it within as well. So that's the sort of process of first caller, phoning in, telling the emergency, telling us where that person or vessel's in trouble, to the Coast Guard, letting us know the information, getting our papers, and then launching. So often as well, they'll often launch the large weather boat along with the inshore. So if we've got more than 2 casualties, say onshore under the cliffs, we basically do a ferry service, so we can take them from the shore to the ILB, to the all-weather lifeboat, because it's a bigger platform. Damn side comfy, damn side warm, and damn side drier. So yeah, that's often been known. Say if we've got a group that's cut off, we'll sort of beach land, collect casualties and take them back and ferry them that way. One of the last later shouts last year we did were 3 divers. The divers were perfectly well, but unfortunately their boats have got engine problems. So we got the divers into the ILB, but we've got 3 dive cylinders, 3 humans, all their dive kits, so we basically ferried them one by one and got them off onto the ALB with all their kits, so we weren't carrying all the weight. Just, it doesn't take much weight to alter the sort of integrity and the stability of the inshore lifeboat. Not only do we have the pages, it comes to our phones as well. Right. So we get sort of double alert. So 2 o'clock in the morning when the pages blinking at you and your phone's ringing at you, and my husband's phone's going as well, because we've got an app that we can put our next of kin on as well. So if I go missing in the middle of the day and the page has gone off, the husband knows the page has gone off, so he can put one and one together and guess I'm out on an orange boat somewhere. But yes, so we keep those pages with us. The sort of how we schedule and route who's on and who's available is we basically rotate ourselves in and out, so we can opt out of being on crew if you want to go out for a drink, or you're going to Scarborough or a little bit further out of a field that's not within that sort of catchment area. You just sign yourself off. So ideally with advance notice, so we can look at crew levels and make sure that we've got enough helms, coxswains, navigators, to crew the boats. As if by magic. Thank you, Bob. So basically that's our little dashboard that we use, so it tells us that at the moment we've got plenty of crew for the D-class, which is the inshore. The ALB, yeah, we're sort of teetering on the edge for the, but yeah, it gives us crew numbers, so it gives us the ability to decide then, say I wanted to go off for the day, we're sort of borderline crew, and I've got the option of going somewhere today or tomorrow. I could think, oh, I'll leave it till tomorrow, so crew levels are alright. But yeah, it's a handy little device really. So we train once or else twice a week. We train every Wednesday evening. Both boats tend to launch each week, but we do shore-based training as well with all the navigation work. And Sunday mornings, if we're available on Sunday mornings, there's the ability, if we've got enough crew, to launch one or both boats or do shore-based training as well. There's no strict timeline from joining up to when you've got to pass out as fully trained, but we try and do it within a 2-year period. And when you've passed out as full crew members on both the inshore and the offshore boat, given the opportunity to train in something else. You could train as an ILB helm, you could train as a mechanic, you could train as a navigator, but you're given that option if you want to do that. There's plenty of space for everybody's abilities. Some people are just strong as deck hands or just sort of general safety crew. You don't have to have that ambition to go to coxswain or mechanic or whatever, but you are given the ability to do that. We are taught to helm both boats to a certain standard. We've got to have certain, you know, a decent level of navigation anyway. We're all taught that if everything goes particularly wrong, we could bring each of the boats back ourselves on our own. It might not be pretty, but we'd get it back. We'd get it back into the marina. Like I say, as the motion is in the water, and I'm going to step across, I'm going to hold my hand on the side.
On the tides.
In you?
Cheers.
Get your sea legs.
Ready? You on? Lad? Hold on, lad. Go inside or outside first?
Comes out into the air, it's dolls, spiders having. It's up to you. It's handrails on either side. You can go down backwards or forwards, whichever you feel comfortable. Or to step and it's a nice thing when doing short and not just with it.
See what I mean? It's like the Enterprise, isn't it? Yeah.
Take a seat. This is the last place you'd want to be, really, but it's probably one of the safest places. The Shannon is a self-righting boat, so God forbid we did get pitch cold or turned, it would rewrite itself as long as we've got all the doors shut and it remains, it's got integrity. So we do have 2 different doors between here and the engine rooms. You're welcome to have a little sneaky peek into the engine rooms, but we'll not go into there, it's a little bit tight. So if the boat, God forbid, turn, which has happened on certain stations, it's got self-righting capacity for 18 survivors. So what we do, should we do a mass pick-up, we can get, I think it's 18 personnel down in here with the doors locked, and it would still self-right. It's going to be uncomfortable and you're going to come off bruised, but it would self-right. We can stay above our safety levels in the water and have 61 survivors on board, which, to be honest with you, can only imagine that it's going to be horrific. We'd have them in here, we'd have them sat in the main cabin, we'd have them holding on deck. I've only been on here once where it was an interesting handle. And that was a night for somebody that had gone missing off the ferry. A lot of stations have trends, whereas we couldn't say, yes, we get the majority of our searches at the swimmers or for dog walkers or dogs over the cliff, or we don't have a trend. It could literally be anything from that page of those. We never ever know what we're turning up to. If it's on the sort of on the incoming tide, we always look and think, oh, what time is it? High water? No, it'll be put on. But then we'll get up down here, something surprising. So back to the spiders cabin. We carry an immense amount of kit on the boat.
Also drive as well.
We have kit like the hyper hoist, so pulling people out of the water, which we attach to barriers outside that we can actually put people into and roll out. So such as divers, maybe people that have been in the water. There's different pressures when you're diving, so you can't just oink somebody out of the water quickly. We need to put them in so they don't get hydrobatic squeeze, so we've got to roll them out. So this is a good bit of kit for that. We've got hoists, we've got A-frames, we've got stretchers, we've got slings and all sorts that we can pull people out of the water and take people out of the water in a safe manner, depending on their injury. So we've got to consider if they've got back injuries, neck injuries, how long they've been in the water, to which manner we need to get them out. We carry a fair deal of first aid equipment. We've got oxygen and Entonox that we carry on board. We've got a first aid kit which are very similar to what paramedics carry, other than we can't administer drugs. We can administer seasickness, antihistamine, oxygen, Entonox, and Penthrox, which is a pain-killing. It's like a vape pipe almost. It's pretty new to us, but it's amazing. Literally in a little box like that, and it's as good as Entonox. It's self-administered, so we give it to you when you basically take it and when your body tells you you're nothing. So we carry all the usual things that you'd expect, sort of blankets, extra kit for ourselves. We try and keep a spare set of clothing in for a casualty, because as soon as you get them out in the cold, you know what I mean, the best thing to do is get them undressed and warm. In this little locker behind us, we know them as veering lines. So basically what we do, we've got the sort of round buoys on the back, so if we had to get a casualty off the rocks, we could literally pass a line to the rocks, secure it on rocks, and hoist people back so they're not going in the water. We've got various, I've talked about flares a little bit, but we've got things called rocket line flares. So if we wanted to get a vessel off the rocks, we could send a rocket flare over to them, and it's basically a tow line that's propelled to them that they can sort of get a hold of, and then we can pass equipment to and from on it.
That's incredible. Never seen that on Saving Lives at Sea.
No. I think some of the longer serving members of crew said, I think Howard said he's served for nearly 40 years and he's known to be launched in all his time. It's my ambition to launch one of those. They look very exciting.
We won't arrange it, will we?
Yeah, please don't, not today. But yeah, so you basically got 250 metres of line. I'll show you them. That basically is propelled.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. It's my ambition to launch. So yeah, we've got everything for all eventualities, but along with that, curveballs are thrown to us, and sometimes we just make it up as we go along. We really do have to.
So they'll be on the
one rescue I went out to a couple of years ago was a sunken vessel 60 odd miles offshore. By the time we got to them, we basically saw the vessel go down, but a foreign vessel had picked up the 3 casualties. It was a growling night, and it was like, how on earth do we cast those casualties? So we carry a massive fender, which basically we usually use to stop boats running on pontoons or against each other. So we basically put our boat against the boat that have picked the casualties up, put the fender in between, and literally, if I say bounce, it's not very technical, but bounce these casualties between the boats so we could get them and attend to them. So sometimes we do have to look out of the box. On board, we all have our own positions when we arrive on deck. So you're in the helming position, so you're basically driving.
Yeah.
You're the mechanic.
Yeah.
And coxswain on both these seats, and they do dual roles sometimes. The mechanic as a rule takes this position so he can read all his engine levels and everything, and the coxswain doesn't, as silly as it sounds, have a specific task. He oversees everything, coordinates everything. So we have somebody constantly on radar. The back position, joking aside, this young man's in probably the most important position on the boat, which is the navigator. And a lot of responsibility falls to that navigator. Everything the navigator does, especially on a long shout when we're doing search patterns, is absolutely vital. So the information will get passed from the Coast Guards to the navigator. They put in their routes and everything. The coxswain would pass it and oversee it, but the coxswain would communicate with the helm position, and that's how a search pattern would be run. All the positions that we've got on, so we'd have helm, radar, mechanic, coxswain, navigator, and then we call this the doctor's seat, and we usually have a medical person in that seat if possible, for the simple reason because they've got the access to deal with the casualty that we have on board.